certainly Musk is not the only one, and he's obviously a cryptocurrency fan in general. But there are a lot of critics of the crypto world, right? Some of them in the regulatory or government community, some of them in traditional asset management. One of the things they talk about is the lack of protection, sort of traditional kinds of protections for individual investors. What would you say to them, and do you think there needs to be more protection?
I think in general, there is not enough protection for individual consumers. And I think there's a misconception Binance grew, like cryptocurrencies all grew really big because there's lack of protection or lack of regulation. Binance grew to be by far the biggest crypto exchange in the crypto industry because we protect our users and the users trust us. So I think the industry has grown to a point but there are many smaller players who are less protective of their users. And we would like to see more regulations in this space so that the retail consumers are protected. But to be honest, even in traditional stock industries, there are still places where Elon can issue one tweet and Tesla stock. He says he feels the Tesla stock is overpriced, and the stock price drops by 10% in minutes. So is there enough protection there or not? I'm not sure. So it's always a subjective judgment. But I think the crypto definitely compared to stock markets is still much more nascent. But we're just talking about the centralized exchanges now. If we're talking about the decentralized exchanges, people can deploy a DeFi a smart contract on the blockchain in a few minutes. And those things have no KYC, no ML. And so there's much less protection and there's less talks about regulations in that space. And we want to help regulators understand this space and how to properly put in the protection mechanism in different places, etc. So we really want to help to make this happen.
The asset itself is creating nothing.
I think it's a scumball activity.
I would short it if there was an easy way to do it.
So there you have it. You have Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. One of them was calling it a scumball activity. The other saying, Bill Gates saying he would short this thing if he could. And you're saying they're all wrong.
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, look, not everybody is right all the time. And I think we have to acknowledge that we all have biases. And look, I'm a disciple of Buffett and Munger. And one of the things that they have said for years, which I believe, is you define a circle of competence and you stay within it. And I think it's been clear in his entire investing career that technology is not in his circle of competence. And so the only technology name that he's owned is Apple. I mean, you could claim that IBM was a technology company. That's borderline.
It's out of that. That didn't work anyway.
Right.
And Apple, I was thinking that if he got in Bitcoin, if he eventually got in Bitcoin when he eventually got into Apple, it'd already be at $1 million probably.
Probably.
But Chamath, just going back to this, I don't think he looks at it as a technology. I think he looks at it as an asset class that he would put in a similar class with gold. Just it's a non-productive asset. It's an asset that is only worth more if other people agree to pay more for it. That's the type of issue that he's talking about.
Which I also agree with. I think it is exactly that. I think it is a replacement to gold. But again...
But you like gold. You're saying you like non-productive assets.
I like in a portfolio. Again, my portfolio is 99% risk on, 1% risk off. And in that 1% risk off bucket, I think that something like Bitcoin is really important. Why? Because it is not correlated to the rest of the market. And the biggest thing that's changed...
You don't believe that the success of Bitcoin over the past several years has been correlated to the market? I would say not directly correlated, but clearly the idea that there's as much liquidity and cash sloshing around in the world has allowed people to buy into Bitcoin in a way that they wouldn't have, frankly, if the market...
That's different than being correlated to a strong economy or earnings.
But there is
that's a liquidity argument. That's not a correlation.
I've been in the Bitcoin market since 2012. And I feel like I'm in two different universes. I need a passport to go between the Bitcoin world and my regular world. These are not the same people. And what I would tell you is the people that owned Bitcoin in 2012 all the way up to now, the majority of those people view it as a hedge to the traditional financial infrastructure. Whether that's true or not is unclear, but that's how we've all viewed it. separately, what Joe says is absolutely right. There's a big difference between correlation and liquidity. And the reality is all of these financial assets in the traditional markets are fundamentally correlated. We saw that in 2007. Everything broke down. Things that we thought were hedges went away. And so I think it's really important to not forget what happened there. So in 2018 or 19, heaven forbid we go through another cataclysmic financial event, we are going to see the same fundamental correlation. And so again, I ask, why would it not make sense to have a non-correlated hedge? For a small amount of this is about buying insurance. It was the same reason why in 2007 and 8, the folks that bought simple you bought some CDS,
you might as well
like heroes.
buy gold. I mean, at least gold's got a 3,000 year, 10,000 year record of being a store of value. I mean, I think that's the other thing Buffett's saying. There's no reason to think this is a store of value.
I think that's a fair point, but I think these are not exclusive decisions. And, for this younger class of entrant into the market, they probably don't want to buy gold. In fact, they don't want to buy gold, and they want to buy something that's much more digital and reflective of their values.
How do you feel, though, about the idea that Charlie sort of suggested, that there's something sort of scummy about that, or that there's a lot of scum in the crypto world right now, and that there's a lot of people who have been sort of sucked into this world, that have bought into this world by some folks who may not be as...
Look, I think it's really unfair to not understand something and then to disparage it. Again, I think he's exceptional. I think Warren Buffett is exceptional. I think Bill Gates is exceptional at what they do. And I think it's fair to say that in 30 or 40 years, if I'm, a vibrant, successful investor, and if I'm back on this show, the idea that I know what's happening 30 or 40 years from now, as well as some other new 40-year-old or 30-year-old entrant into the market, is just not true. The reality is things change.
CZ, I follow you on Twitter, and I noticed recently you said you were reading a book on Warren Buffett. To my knowledge, Warren Buffett is not invested in crypto. If you were sitting in a room for him, what would you tell him on why he should be invested in crypto?
I wouldn't convince him to invest in crypto. I think it's not necessary that everybody have to invest in crypto. My mom doesn't use the internet that much, and that's fine. The internet is still the internet's fine. My mom is fine. So I think basically it's a free world. We don't have to convince everybody to use crypto, and it's only for the people who wants to use crypto can use crypto. I was reading Warren Buffett's book just because I read many investment books, and I recently. I just stumbled up on it, and it's a great book. Actually, he has many investment theses that are timeless, and that still applies to crypto. It's just that he's not personally interested in crypto, but I don't think. And he in the book he also says that he's not a diversified investor. He likes to hold a small number of stocks that he knows well, and he doesn't want to diversify across hundreds of stocks, and that's very similar to my personal mentality. I only hold BNB and BTC. I don't diversify myself across different crypto assets. So, and because of his non-diversification, he's not into Bitcoin or crypto. That's fine. We don't need to convince him. I think he's not short on money. He's not into he's at a different stage in his life where I think the learnings, the philosophies, the teachings are very valuable to the community and to the world. And I think he's a super successful individual, which I respect a lot, but we don't necessarily need to get him into crypto. And he used a flip phone based on at least a couple of years ago. So I'm actually kind of worried that if he uses crypto, he may not have the necessary skills or the knowledge on how to keep his own crypto safe. So I think it's okay. Crypto doesn't have to be for everyone. It's just a choice that's there.